Replaced a clamp already once, so wanted to make sure it wasn't an issue with just that, but it wouldn't explain why it would be up here in the top. We went ahead and got the spark plugs out. They went with auto lights, this last company that worked on it, and that's not usually a brand that Generac uses. Check the gap on it. On LP, I know in the past they've had you kind of crunch them down a little bit. Okay, let's see what we got here. I got the fuel turned off. About 190, that's pretty typical. Lucky there. 162 and 190. So 70, 80, 90, 30 pounds off. Never tried that before, but it works. Went ahead and adjust the valves. 100, lock it in. See what it does, whether it moves the cylinder. See what happens if you're not perfectly top dead center. So it's leaking, but it's not leaking below 20%. I like pushing down on it really tight. See if I can split the difference between going one direction and the other. There we go. Let's see how that does. So we were leaking a little bit around our gauge. So for the most part, our front's fine, we have no leakage. So our front's perfect, our rear's got a little leakage. There's rings that are leaking by a little bit, but they're a tolerance. This is why I don't like these stupid things. See, they don't fit. When you use the real gauge, it's 20 thousandths. Okay, I went ahead and blew everything out, wiped all the oil up down there below there. Got them a new battery in there, and we're gonna start it up, see how the voltage and stuff is. I wanna see how it starts first. Got the LP gas on, we'll see how the choke area is. Yeah, you know, you don't know if the spark plugs are the right ones because they freaking thought they were smarter than the factory and decided to go with other ones. Let's see how the spark is. So we got decent spark there on that. Got decent spark here. Basically, by doing that, you're causing more suction in the engine. It pulls the fuel right in. Usually it'll start right up. It could have problems with the bellows on these. They call them a gas valve. It ain't really a gas valve, gas solenoid. There's bellows in there, so it's like a negative pressure gas valve. The intake stroke, it tends to pull the fuel in. Those bellows open up, and then that's when the gas comes through. So now we know we can get it started. Let's see what our voltage is. The people that installed this chopped off my wires that I used to hook my probes up to. So I had to take the cover off, which took more time. All right, so if you remember correctly, the problem here was the transformer was blown on the furnace, and that's why they had no heat. Cramming 320 some volts into it, that probably is the reason why it went bad. I've seen this a million times. We can go through and do the fixed excitation test, but the freaking voltage regulator's bad. Now we got to order that. And it still don't fix the way it starts. A basic rundown of what we had here. This here was oily, but it wasn't pure oil, so we had a lot of condensation in there. Down below was probably an oil leak from the hose from previously, and it probably blew off of the fittings. The compression is unequal. We have 160 on the back, 190 on the front. Our leakage through our rings, it came with 18% on the rear and 5 on the front. So we got a little bit there. That's probably how you're getting a little bit of oil in there, and it's mixing with the condensation, which made it look worse. What's up, guys? Heading to a call on a generator and a geothermal. I was on this call earlier a few months ago for a no heat call. Found out why the transformer blew up on the geothermal. You can check out that link right up here right now. But basically, the generator, when it kicked on and the power went out, was cranking out about 300 and some volts. The voltage regulator ended up being bad. And then the geothermal, we did a service on everything, and basically the temperature rise across the coax coil seemed to be a little bit low, which is usually an indication of low on charge. Tower right there. Alright, so this is one of the older ones. On these older ones, they had a separate voltage regulator, battery charger, start contactor relay, step down dual tapped freaking transformer. They got rid of all this stuff and put it into one integrated control module like Kohler was doing for quite a while. I have a feeling the fuel regulator's sticking, the diaphragm in there. Basically, you've got two sensing wires, 2 wires go to your slip rings, and then 2 wires coming in with your raw voltage. I've had a couple of these go bad, and when they go bad, it seems to go catastrophic instead of just, you know, fail and don't work. That would be nice if it failed in the other direction. Problem is, when you cram 300 and some volts into a house, it tends to blow everything up. The newer generators have got protection against that stuff. The old ones like this one had frequency and a few other things on it, but didn't protect against overvoltage. And you got to set the voltage on this when we're done, because they come cranked down low. And I did try to adjust it. That's not the problem. These are usually a little more of a pain in the butt to find locally. You wouldn't think it, but it is. You can get them. You usually have to go with like an NKG or something like that, but I just find it easier that it was built with this. They build the engine. Why try to reinvent the wheel? We'll go ahead and put it at the factory default, just to make sure we're not doing anything that's causing any issues. But put a little smear here of this.